Tony. Hello, everybody. Back again with another Brush Sauce community interview. And this month, Antoine helped me choose our next member, Antonio Stappaerts. And
hi.
Yeah. Just so here he is. I have his portfolio up, and we'll just kind of talk about your work and where you've been, where you're going. So give me a little rundown of your artistic history, or how many years you've been doing it, or where did you practice or study?
Right. Well, thanks for having me, Tyler. I've just started drawing actually late 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I started September 2014 because I actually wanted a tattoo at the time. Sounds really silly.
That's awesome.
But,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to learn how to draw my own tattoo because I didn't want it to leave up in the hands of a random artist.
That's always a scary thought, right? If we're leaving, putting our faith entirely into a stranger of sorts, somebody else's hands, to permanently make some kind of mark on our body.
Exactly. So I wanted my own creative input on that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I chose to learn how to draw, but really just in a amateur kind of style, just to pick it up. Mm-hmm. But then I kind of got the hang of it, and I really enjoyed it, and I had this eureka moment, I think.
Nice.
Where I really wanted to pursue this professionally. So I picked up a couple months later, I picked up Adam Duff's mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of guided me in the right direction. He really helped me a lot in seeing what's possible and what I can do with my art. And from there on, I just went at it like crazy. Actually, I just obsessive drawing every day, to the point we are today.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, only a few years. What, 3 or 4 years? You've come.
Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah,
very far then, and for that amount of time. Very professional looking stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm more of a concept designer, I believe, than I am an illustrator.
But you know what I like about that? Your concept designs have an illustrative approach to them.
Right.
Personally, I don't see enough of that. That's my favorite type of stuff to look at. There's probably 10 different ways you could have approached this design, for example, but you kind of hand painted it and you illustrated your concept. Right. Whereas some people out there just start throwing in every piece. I mean, and it comes down to personal preference, of course, but some people just start throwing all these photo elements in and then kind of kit bashing it, and it's whatever. There's so much craftsmanship in this approach, and I truly admire and respect that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Really cool. I remember.
Yeah, so the goal is mainly concept design.
That's your emphasis. Your emphasis.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Very cool. So, what sort of things inspire you the most? Movies, games, books, and of what particular? Feel free to get specific.
Well, what I enjoy seeing the most is actually product designers.
Mm-hmm.
So I follow a lot of guys like Daniel Simon or Scott Robertson because I really like their approach on design.
I have not heard of Daniel Simon actually. Maybe I have. Yeah, I think I've seen his work. He's a
designer. Yeah,
he's just not a name I use every day. Just because, he is a very specific discipline.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. I find that
it's not my genre of art, but I really love the way they approach design and problem solving and stuff like that.
That's right. So. I seen him in a making of featurette on Oblivion in regards to the ship. That's how I remember him.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. Look at that car. That is awesome.
Beautiful, right?
So I just find it surprising that you would mention something like this. It's very different from a lot of what you do. That's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it's product design and concept design are kind of the same thing in my eyes.
Yeah,
they tackle a problem. Product design is usually for a real life thing, and concept design is usually for fantasy or games. Mm-hmm. But it boils down to the same basic stuff. Designing for a client. And of course, we all know Scott Robertson.
Yeah, who also has a fantastic YouTube channel.
Exactly.
And the slight chance that you guys don't know, go check him out. And this guy can just draw anything from any angle.
Anything.
Give him a prompt, he'll do 50, he'll do 100 variations on it too.
Yeah,
I think
true.
that's the real kind of key to designing or being a designer is basically iterations and variations and, you know, keeping that kind of creative flow and of, you know, juices kind of going without like drawing two different versions of something that I'm stuck. You know, you really got to have a lot of mileage in your in your variety so many of the times. He's just an excellent draftsmanship. I've always admired that.
Yeah, I love his line work. It's crazy.
Oh wow, yeah. I remember learning so much on his channel. Like he'd introduce some kind of 3D technique of that and be way over my head. It'd be like, oh, that looks awesome. So yeah, here's Scott Robertson, guys. He does awesome
amazing
work.
Stuff.
And yeah, designer first and foremost.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff.
And nowadays, in my own personal style, I'm trying to kind of find my style these days. So I'm trying different techniques, but I tend to go more towards like real stylization, not realism. I really like stylized design. So
that's really obvious, like within this.
Yeah, exactly. So like graphic shapes, you know, but rendered kind of
realistically with like strong sensibilities to actual light application rather than flat colors.
Exactly.
And that's where I've been seeing myself go for a lot of my concepts and my personal work. I see kind of heading in that direction too. It's funny, I kind of started off that way, and I tried to, you know, a couple of years to do a little more realistic things. But, you know, it wasn't until I tried that I realized, like, you know what, this is okay, but it is not nearly as much fun for me as doing something like this. Yeah,
right. I had the exact same thing. I was trying to do some realistic, like the photo bashing stuff and the real life illustration and the matte painting, and I really find that it's not my cup of tea, you know.
That's just the best way to learn and to find your style and find your vibe is to try a little bit of everything. Particularly, you know, earlier on, the more you try, the better, because then you'll figure out what you like and don't like, and can weed out, you know, like these are great. Like these are so much more fun to look at, these awesome illustrated you know, items than looking at like a more realistically rendered version of that. Definitely for me personally. Yeah,
I kind of had this idea that, you know, the whole gaming world is exploding like on mobile games, right? Mobile game apps. So I wanted to focus that target audience or directors or companies by really making stuff that would fit into an app or a game of that sort.
Yeah, elements that just pop off the page, you know, with color and life, and they have a certain energy to them as well.
Yeah,
that's a great sky, by the way. I just love this is like my favorite part of your image. I know it's like probably the least important aspect of this, but I love how you did that. The flow and the energy with the shapes, really awesome. Like, was that really hard? I gotta ask, how hard was, like, because sometimes when I see something like that, it's like, that looks effortless. But was that like a bit of a struggle for you, or did it take a lot of effort?
It was. I have a great friend here in Belgium. He's a great illustrator. His name is Karel Wievetter, and he kind of helps me with this stuff. Like he usually checks my illustrations.
Nice.
And what I learned from him is that, you know, brush strokes, like brush economy.
Yeah.
It's very important, and it's kind of hard to learn. But
very hard to learn.
Exactly. But a good trick is that if you you tend to make your brushwork towards the focal point, it will usually read better. So that's what I tried to do with the clouds here.
Yep.
So like have the brushes all point towards the center focal point. Which in the end made it read much better than I had it initially.
Very awesome, though. It's something like if it's done truly right, maybe like the average person necessarily wouldn't notice these at all, but it's something I picked up on. Like that is some damn fine clouds. Clouds, for some reason, is something I always, no matter the scope, the scale, the angle, whatever, I always like struggle to get like clouds that kind of look something like this, for sure. I think these are great.
You paint some beautiful clouds as well, because most of your illustrations have awesome clouds.
But yeah, for me, you know what? It's keeping them super simple and direct, because like often, like you're seeing, a lot of the meat and potatoes of the image is it's about the action or the moment that's happening below the clouds, and the sky is. If we make that equally as complex, it will compete. So it's like, oh, I want to do big epic skies, but I have to keep it simple to keep the balance in that image. But yeah, really awesome stuff. I like this one a lot too.
Yeah, this is a fancy illustration that I did for a flyer at a local wood shopper that we have here, a woodcutter. And he wanted an illustration for his flyer, his opening flyer. So kind of the buildings that are in there.
Nice.
Because I really struggled with this one because he wanted the 3 buildings in there and the little girl, which makes it 4 focal points. So I had to kind of find the balance to put them all in there.
Isn't that can be tough sometimes too, or tough? Like I guess challenging would be a better term for it. Was when you're working with some clients and they give you like a laundry list worth of like things that they want in one composition. It's like, you know how busy that's gonna get. Like
exactly.
This one guy I was negotiating with him last week, and he basically made a whole website just to explain the image brief for what he wanted for one image, and I was like, it was exhausting to go through. It had like 14 annotations, lots of diagrams, and it's a simple landscape. At the end of the day, is what it's going to be. Oh my goodness, waterfall, mountains. It's basically like a panorama of the Zelda Breath of the Wild game. Absolutely has every kind. Well, not every climate, but it's got a lot of stuff in there. But it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, some people want everything crammed into one piece.
Yeah,
and that's nearly impossible. But sometimes they don't understand. Like, I want 6 different focal points. That's like it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah,
but we try to make it work.
Very. Very true. So you kind of partially answered this. Normally I ask next, what is your favorite artist? And you had mentioned Scott Robertson and the other guy that I can't even remember. Daniel Simon. Who else is like on the top of your list that you really kind of look up to?
I saw you had the talk with Antoine, and he mentioned like specific ones, but I have them in different categories. So Daniel Simon and Scott Robertson would be the design guys.
Yep.
Like in the stylization, I would have J.C. Leyendecker.
Oh, definitely.
From Masters. And Mike Acevedo from like Artstone.
Oh, his stuff is very good.
Oh, his stuff is awesome.
We'll look at his. Yeah, I'm always referencing his stuff, no matter what project I'm on. It's like I always try to get a little bit of his DNA into my character. So tough the way he just makes it look so effortless. I love the folds, the stylization of the lighting,
it's great, right?
The very readable shapes.
And he's like the definition of graphic shapes with realistic rendering.
Yep.
It's amazing. And the thing I picked up from J.C. Leyendecker, I heard a YouTube talk about it, but much of the stuff that you see here are not actually illustrations, but they're studies that he did before he did the illustration.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of implemented that. Before I do an illustration, I do like different studies of the things I want to put in the illustration, and then I make the illustration, which really eases up the process.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of that here.
Exactly.
It definitely makes the final product a lot better.
Yeah. Because you already went through the problem-solving process, and then you just kind of repeat it.
You're just regurgitating it back out and arranging,
Exactly.
putting the puzzle back together, basically.
Yeah. That's
a really good tip, though. Appreciate that. And yeah, Mike's stuff is fantastic. I just saw it there. I never can spell his last name, but yeah, really good stuff. Really just filled with life, character,
it's amazing,
emotion. Yeah. Such good stuff.
Yeah.
He was like, that was a huge he was a huge inspiration for me. I just, on the channel, I've been talking a little bit lately of my Breath of the Wild paintings, and he was like a huge inspiration for those.
Yeah.
I just love what he does.
Yeah, the way he works with like really vivid colors.
Mm-hmm.
And the plane changes he makes in his illustrations, I love that.
Yeah. That's the little secret, right? Vivid colors pop more than sterile and more realistic colors. You want to sell an illustration or a book cover, you put some fancy colors on it, and make it pop off the bookshelf against all the more.
But it's tricky to find a balance.
It is. You can't go too much.
Exactly.
Like look at that. That is an intense banner. I'm sure it was a banner of some sort, but
yeah, that's amazing.
Really good stuff. Wow. Yeah, he's a great illustrator. You guys should definitely check it out. And of course, it all comes down to how good the underlying drawing aspect of it is. That's what I like to advise people to do. If you're trying to paint color illustrations and you're finding out they just fail, like, come back to the drawing. If you can make a drawing work, then good. Add value to it. If you can make the value work, then good. Add some color to it. But don't just jump into color or jump into value. And if you're struggling and having it not work, just cut it down to the basic core essence of what it is. You know, in the drawing, basically, and you'll kind of improve from the ground up rather than trying to jump to the 10th floor.
Yeah, that's why I see a lot of beginning artists. Well, I include myself as a beginning artist, but I see a lot of beginning artists think that all these professional artists just start with the color and they just slap everything together and it works, but they usually break down the problem into different segments. Yeah, they do the line drawing, they do the color, they do the value, and then they do the final touches.
Yeah, it's something that I don't feel is mentioned quite as much with professional artists. It's something they do, but they don't really talk about. Like when they make a YouTube channel or something, it's all about, okay, let's get in, show something kind of quick and flashy, make a time lapse, and it kind of almost gives this false pretense to a more beginner artist that they just kind of misunderstand and like, oh, that's how it's done, so that's what I can do, and they try to replicate it and emulate it, and that's where the problem is. I remember you posting this on Facebook. Great illustration of the dog. I love that one. So what would be your like dream artist gig or property that you would like to work on?
Well, it's hard to say for me because I don't really have one at the moment, because I just everything you want me to draw, I'll draw anything for anyone. So I just started.
You're an art whore.
I was actually questioning if I could say that on the chat.
Of course, this YouTube's our soapbox. We can say whatever comes to our mind. This is the only place we can do that.
Yeah, I'm an art prostitute, so I really I enjoy the process. So I just started freelancing this month.
Fantastic! I'm glad you are, because your work, in my opinion, is certainly up to par to get professional work.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I'm actually already living the dream, kind of.
Nice.
Drawing for a living,
awesome.
And I hope I can continue to do that.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I definitely see a huge part of Mike Azevedo's influence on this.
Well, yeah,
and I think it's for the best, dude. This is awesome. Love this one.
Thanks. Yeah, so not really a dream thing. If there would be one thing, then it would be like be an art director one day myself, like have a completely project like a game or a theme park or a movie specifically directed to my art style. That would be amazing. Yeah,
that would be awesome. Oh, I like this one a lot too.
Thanks.
Great motion blur effect that you just did really well here. A lot more. Yeah, you did this one a while ago? The colors are a lot more reserved compared to your current stuff.
Yeah, this one is a while ago. It's more of a study. Like I actually slapped some reference photos together, and then I tried to repaint it. So it's much more conservative and
very nice. I like this too. I've been doing more.
Yeah, this was some line art I think I did for the Moonlight Drifter challenge on PST.
Really nice. I've been getting into exploring ideas for line art a little bit more myself lately. Just something I've never been good at, so I'm kind of just forcing a little bit out of myself lately.
Yeah,
it's certainly a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can make something work, like especially composition with lines, the painting will kind of do it for you. It will come automatically.
Oh, these are great. Basic design principles right here, folks.
Yeah.
Shape and silhouette design languages. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love to do those.
Was this the start for that gorilla guy, or was this something separate? No,
this is something separate.
Yeah, he's not very
This
gorilla.
was more of a, This was more of sci-fi stuff.
I think this is a great thing too. If people want to practice this sort of thing, is you gotta give yourself prompts. If you want to practice design, give yourself a design prompt, because you need a problem to solve. And if you're just blindly trying to design something, it's going to suffer from it. So creativity is derived from limitations, right? So give yourself limitations. Be like, genre sci-fi. I'm gonna use only these kind of shapes. I'm going to do something big and bulky. Give yourself a list of descriptive words that you can go and design, and, start filling out your design from. Yeah, really awesome stuff. So what are your favorite games and movies that you kick back and relax with? Well,
movies, I'm more of a Netflix series guys at the moment. I really enjoyed Westworld.
Oh, yeah. I hear really good things about that.
Yeah, especially from a design perspective, it's amazing. Movies, I like some Korean, Asian movies, like Old Boy and stuff like that. Yeah. It's really my cup of tea. I haven't seen that
one. I want to.
You haven't seen Old Boy?
I have not yet.
You should check it out.
I really want to.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's amazing. And games, I'm not much of a gamer, and that might come as a shock to people, but I rather spend my time drawing than gaming.
Well, hey, you're the perfect. You're a poster boy for that. What we should all be doing.
Yeah. I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft when I was younger.
There you go.
And I really enjoyed that game. And then League of Legends.
Great hand.
But nowadays, I just draw as much as I can.
Nice. That's very good, and that's admirable. Sure. I'm too embarrassed to say how much time I've put into Breath of the Wild in the last 2 weeks. It's bad. I get addicted to it, and I hope I'm going to get a lot of creativity from it, or I'm going to try to justify it anyway.
You still there, Tom?
Yeah. You hear me? Hello? All right, awesome. So, what do you think? If you could recall, what's the best advice you were ever given for your art?
Well, the best thing, like every artist will tell you, is repetition.
Yeah.
I know that when I just started out, like just learning to draw for my tattoo, even I saw this level up session with Anthony Jones.
Yep.
And he told something that really stuck with me. He said, like, if you want to be able to draw a pumpkin, if you draw 1,000 pumpkins, you'll be guaranteed that the last one will be much better than the first one. So repetition is always a good thing.
Definitely.
If I have some personal advice for people that want to learn how to draw, especially for concept design, not so much illustration maybe, is that I have 3 major pillars that I would stick to, like learn how to draw geometric forms, learn perspective, and learn about design.
Fantastic. Yeah, design is a totally kind of its own category, its own discipline.
Thing. Exactly. Yeah. I remember going to a product design workshop, and the premise that we were going to design all kinds of things, and I was like, yeah, we're going to design vehicles and buildings and products. It's going to be awesome. And the thing I remember is they sat us down and they told us, like, draw us 20 cylinders in perspective. We were like, okay, 20 cylinders, no problem. And then they told me, like, now make them look interesting.
Oh, wow.
And that was something like, how do you make a simple thing look interesting? And at the end of the lesson, they said, right, do you remember how hard it was to make that cylinder look interesting? If you cannot do that, how are you going to make a vehicle or a character or anything else look interesting?
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's something that really stuck with me.
That is awesome. Great advice. So what would you say now is your largest weakness, and what have you struggled with the most, at least recently anyways?
Oh, I every time I start a drawing, I struggle.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real, exactly. I think I want to boost up my design skills, and I think finding my own personal style now, because I'm kind of comfortable with drawing.
Yeah.
Like basic drawing, so I want to kind of create my own unique style.
Fine-tune that.
Yeah, fine-tune that.
Yeah, that's always tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Repetition.
Repetition. There we go.
Yeah. Style is something that definitely just has to be, I think, forced out of you through that repetition. Because I know I see lots of external influences, like, oh, I got to do something like that guy, and maybe add a little bit of that guy in too, and I just keep kind of going at it, and it can get frustrating. Like, no, I just can't achieve the way, but you do it enough, and yes,
exactly.
You can you'll grow off, and you'll build your own design decisions from it. For sure.
Yeah, like most styles are accumulation of other people's styles, right?
Yeah, and it's what you kind of bring to it, what you take, and what you leave from it, and then also from your own mistakes and shortcomings, you can derive a style from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true. Awesome. So, I guess for my last question, like, how many hours a week or day are you painting and drawing at this point?
Well, at this point, because I just started freelancing, I'm doing like 10 to 12 hours a day.
Fantastic.
But it's only I just applied for a company in San Francisco. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
And I have to do an art test this week.
Good luck.
So, thanks, man. I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
And I hope, it comes true.
Really nice.
But, so lots of drawing these days.
Definitely. Thank you for coming on. It was certainly a pleasure to kind of get to know you better. Yeah,
thanks for having me, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to check out some more of Antonio's work, we'll have links below in the description, and pay him a visit.
Cool.
But, thanks for viewing, and if you like this and want to see more, join the community, which I'll have a link below as well, and leave me a like and subscribe. Thank you. Take care. Thank you for watching my video. If you found it helpful, please leave me a like. If you want to help me out, please share it with your friends. I'm also on Facebook, where I have a subscribe button where you can get newsletters and discount info. I'm also on Twitter, where I update and post images almost regularly. If you want a chance to mingle and meet other like-minded individuals such as yourself, join the Brushshosh community, free and open to anyone, of course through the Google+. And finally, if you'd like to inquire about my mentorship program, head over to tyleredlinart.com, click on the mentorship tab, scroll through, read over some of the guidelines, and feel free to check out several of my testimonial videos on my YouTube channel itself.